Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The debate that will probably go on for all 17 weeks of the season is going to be the quarterback debate between Taylor Heinicke and Desmond Ridder. I know people want to talk about Tom Brady. We saw Baldinger bring that up. And yes, Tom Brady, if he came in, that would be amazing. And he would probably make this a Super Bowl contender. But that's kind of a ridiculous thing to say considering he's retired. And you could say that about 10 other teams. And he's not coming to Atlanta. And it's just not happening. And there's no other veteran quarterback that's going to step in, pick up this offense, and be any better. You have what you have in the room, and that's what we're here to decide. And there was a tweet from Mike Bell yesterday talking about, should I really be – I didn't know year 3 was a rebuild. Well, this is where we go back to expectations, right? This is – the expectations coming into the season were that this is still part of the rebuild. And whether you like it or not, that's the way the Falcons approached it. You didn't start Desmond Ridder after 4 starts and what you saw last year, expecting to win a Super Bowl this year. I know we're all excited about the defense. I know we're excited about the offensive weapons, but that's not the direction the Falcons chose to go. If they wanted to go in another direction, they would have made a bigger push for a veteran quarterback or something like that. They didn't. We have what we have. And sitting here and telling me that Taylor Heinicke is going to be significantly better, if better at all, than Desmond Ridder and what he's shown the last 2 weeks. Listen, Desmond Ridder threw for over 300 yards, had some moments, some flashes, obviously had the 3 picks. That's a roller coaster ride that you're just going to have to be used to with rookie quarterbacks. But let's not act like Taylor Heinicke himself isn't a roller coaster ride. The guy is a gunslinger. He turns the ball over a lot. Yes, can he throw for 300 yards? What I was looking for Desmond Ridder when I was kind of like, okay, maybe we should switch to Heinicke, is whether he could ever throw for 300 yards. Like there was a point, there after weeks 3 and 4 where you're like, I don't even know if this guy can throw for 250, let alone 300 yards. And that was my biggest concern. Over the last 2 weeks, he's shown that he can air it out a little bit. And there's been good moments, at least good enough moments, where replacing him with Taylor Heinicke now would just be foolish.
Yeah, I think it's a weird thing. I said it last week or yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Sports Talk ATL on YouTube. The interceptions were backbreaking, and you can't. I don't want to excuse those by any means because they're inexcusable. They're indefensible. Particularly the one in the end zone. We were on the half-yard line, got backed up. Washington pressured. Ridder left his feet completely and just threw a prayer up. And the fact is that's not okay. But also, he's a young quarterback making young quarterback mistakes. If he makes the same mistakes, then we have a problem. If he makes new mistakes, that's just the territory that comes with playing a new quarterback, a young new quarterback. The idea that he was just god awful against the Commanders is just patently false. I mean, that first drive, I've continued to say it, was the best opening drive I've seen this Falcons team have with Ridder under center. He was decisive. He was accurate. He looked like he was in control. He was seeing the field. He saw what the defense was doing. He took what the defense was giving him. That's an important note in all of this. And Ridder acknowledged the fact that, yeah, when I play outside of the offense, outside of the system, that's when things get ugly. Well, no crap. Of course, when you play outside of the system as a rookie quarterback, you do dumb rookie quarterback things, and it generally turns into turnovers. So the idea that Taylor Heinicke is just going to come in here and give you, instead of a roller coaster, he's going to, give you something in the middle is just, it's like you've never seen Taylor Heinicke play at all. I mean, this guy isn't some veteran presence that's going to be a conservative guy that takes what the defense gives him and just goes dink and dunk down the field and operates this offense like as Tom Brady or Drew Brees would, where he's just taking what the defense gives him. If it's not a 50-yard bomb, it doesn't matter. We'll check it down and just keep the drive going. Taylor Heinicke is not that guy. It feels like maybe Mike Bell or whoever has never watched Taylor Heinicke play. The guy is a gunslinger. The guy is a more athletic Brett Favre. He doesn't have the arm of Brett Favre, but he has the guts of Brett Favre where he'll throw anything. You tell him, hey, man, don't throw that. He's like, no, I can make that. That's just the kind of guy he is in terms of what he was in Washington. That's not to say that he can't win football games or potentially be better than Ridder. I'm not saying that because he probably could come in and be better than Ridder, I think. But the idea that he's going to give you more stability is just patently false. I mean, the guy, that's not who he is as a player. The guy turns the ball over like as much as Ridder. If you went and looked at the stats, I don't have them in front of me, but I guarantee you in terms of turnover-worthy plays, they are neck and neck. in terms of turnover-worthy plays to the amount of games they've started. That rate is probably very similar. I would not be surprised if Taylor Heinicke has a higher rate. It's just crazy that you want stability and you're like, Taylor Heinicke's the guy. That it's just, have you never watched the guy play?
Mike was muted. I saw the stat, and I think that last year, I think when Heinicke was the starter, and you look at their turnover-worthy plays, they were almost identical. I think the year before, Taylor Heinicke was a lot better in that area. So, but still, like, yes, he's going to put the ball in harm's way just as often, and maybe he's slightly better. But like we said, this is about building toward the future and seeing what you have in Desmond Ridder. And I would even argue that if you're concerned about winning in the playoffs or winning a playoff game, going further than we both imagine the ceiling is for this team, I think making the playoffs is really the ceiling for this team. But if there's any scenario where the Falcons actually win a playoff game or actually look like somewhat of contenders, it's going to happen with Desmond Ridder under center, because we don't know his untapped potential. We don't know if he ever does find that stability, what could happen with this team. And if over the next 10 weeks or so, he finds that stability, then all of a sudden you're talking about, okay, you have a defense, you have a quarterback that you trust, and you have these weapons. Maybe we can make something happen at the end of the year. Taylor Heinicke, we know what he is. You know, it's not going to get any better than what he was last year, and there's no telling that it's going to be as good as he was last year because he is in a new system and stuff like that.
Okay, I have the stats. So basically, interception percentage is how often you threw an interception over the actual attempts that you made. In 2021, which was Taylor Heinicke's last full season, he had a 3% interception rate. Last year, he only started 9 games. He had a slightly better 2.3 interception rate. Desmond Ridder currently has a 3% interception rate. So they're eerily similar in terms of putting the ball in harm's way. I guarantee you, if Taylor Heinicke had started the full season last year, that interception rate would have gone up. It's the idea that we just have the most conservative, take care of the ball veteran backing up Desmond Ridder is just, like I said, patently false. I mean, that's just not the case at all. We don't have this, like, this Aaron Rodgers-esque guy who just, no matter what, he takes care of the ball. Taylor Heinicke threw 15 interceptions to 20 touchdowns in 2021. This isn't some guy who's just notorious for protecting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
He might be better, but it's not because he's going to protect the ball. That's not why he'll be better.
And there's also just not a chance that he's going to lead us any further probably than what Desmond Ridder is going to be. Maybe with Taylor Heinicke, you ensure a little bit of a chance of winning the division. But as far as becoming a contender, you're not becoming a contender with Taylor Heinicke. You just have to kind of accept the Falcons are what they are. And we accepted it before the season. And we talked all offseason that, we could be better than people expect. We could win the postseason. Maybe there's a slight chance that we could win a playoff game. But all those things still remain true after 6 weeks of starting Desmond Ridder. And like I said just a second ago, there is a chance that if he figures it out, you are a little bit better at the end of the season than you are today, or significantly better at the end of the season than you are today. You throw Taylor Heinicke out there, you're going to be what you are. Maybe you're slightly better today, but you're not going to be significantly better tomorrow.
Well, the fact of the matter is that's very short-term, small brain thinking. You gotta think of it in big picture. Where Taylor Heinicke might make us better today, to your point, but is he gonna make us that much better? It might be incrementally better. And what is that going to net? It's not going to net a Super Bowl. It might net an actual playoff win or a playoff spot. But the fact of the matter is we have got to be invested in this long term. We have to see it through with Desmond Ridder. We should have seen Desmond Ridder last year. That was short-term thinking. Putting Marcus Mariota in there for 13 games, that was short-term thinking. Turning away from Desmond Ridder after 6 games this year is short-term thinking. Taylor Heinicke is not going to come in. I'd say Desmond Ridder has until the bye week to really, solidify himself as the quarterback for the season. That bye week is where you could potentially start having some conversations depending on the record, depending on Desmond Ridder's development, and depending on the team's morale. That's when I think a change could be made.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons fans, just get used to it. It's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, buckle in.
At least it's somewhat exciting. You have no idea what to expect week to week. Coming up after the break, do the Braves need a philosophy change in their offseason decision making going into this offseason?